Hello, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're doing good. So, to continue in my series on the emotions to expect after going no contact, today I want to talk about the stage where you'll start to feel more positive about life, but you'll feel really frustrated with yourself for not going no contact sooner. As I mentioned previously, I left home physically at 17, but didn't go no contact till my mid-40s. As my recovery from my narcs progressed, I started to lament the lost decades, wasted on futile attempts to get love and approval from my family, constantly giving them the benefit of the doubt, constantly having my heart broken. Narc abuse is much like the story of the frog in a pot of water. If you put a frog in a pot of boiling water, it'll leap out immediately to save itself. If you put a frog in cold water and gradually bring it to the boil, the frog will be lulled into a false sense of security and will stay in the pot until it's suddenly too late to escape. Something that was extremely enlightening for me when studying the statistics for this channel is the majority of us here are women in our 40s and 50s. It seems that this is the stage of life where scapegoats reach their breaking point and make the brave decision to go no contact. We jumped out of that metaphorical pot in time and saved ourselves. But why did we take so long? I believe it's a combination of things, especially for women. This is the stage of life where adults generally take stock of their lives. Am I happy in my career? Am I happy in my marriage? Am I where I want to be in life? We might experience minor health scares and feel compelled to make adjustments to our lifestyles. I personally gave up alcohol, started exercising more, took control of my lifelong restrictive eating disorder. We start to experience bereavements in our friendship group, be it the passing of our friends' parents or the passing of friends themselves. We also start to lose aunts, uncles, and other older relatives in the extended family. Perhaps it's your enabler parent who's passed away, leaving the surviving narc widowed and even more needy and unbearable in their behaviour. We might start experiencing symptoms of perimenopause or full-blown menopause, or are at least anticipating the onset of this dramatic stage of our reproductive health. I had the lifelong attitude that I didn't want children, just because I didn't like them. But recovery from narc abuse made me realise I chose not to have them because I was terrified I'd continue the cycle of generational abuse. I actually love kids. My awareness that the menopause is on the horizon stirred up very complicated feelings for me, and I even found myself broody for the first time in my life, just when my ability to get pregnant is fading away. That feeling of being robbed of something that could have been so wonderful was overwhelming, realising just how much of an impact scapegoating abuse had on my life choices. Maybe you have grown-up children who are beginning to leave for university or move far away for work. You look at your own feelings of sadness and loss, but also pride and happiness that they're chasing their hopes and dreams. You compare this with your own life at that age, and the way the narcs mocked your dreams and attempted to sabotage your career, and the spine-chilling realisation hits you that they're truly evil. You might be going through a traumatic divorce, or have recently had a divorce finalised, and have decided to date again, but you're determined not to be hurt this time around. You become aware of things like setting boundaries, and you learn about how to identify red flags in potential partners. This, in turn, might ring alarm bells as to the behaviour displayed by your family, so you start researching narcissism. At this point of life, we start seeing the wrinkles on our face and lament the fading of our youthful looks. We've had our self-esteem crushed our whole lives, and narc mothers are particularly fond of knocking the way scapegoat daughters look, due to pathological envy. I realise now I was a good-looking girl in my teens, 20s and 30s, but lacked the self-worth to dress up in cute outfits and indulge in pretty makeup, to fully take advantage of high cheekbones and blue eyes, opting instead for unflattering clothing and body language that screamed "stay away." In our 40s and 50s, we find ourselves questioning if we really want to spend the next 30, 40, 50 years feeling worthless and hating life. We might start therapy for depression, but finding a competent therapist can take years. Our new therapist might raise the subject of the reason why we've had a chronic feeling of deep sadness our whole lives, namely our abuse at the hands of our toxic family. At this stage in life, the decades of abuse might culminate in a nervous breakdown, as happened to me. We've spent our lives living two realities, real reality and the narc facade reality. Our brains can only cope with this so long before we snap. It can take decades to see our narcs follow a set pattern of love bombing, devaluing and discarding. We become all too aware that our narcs are getting worse with age, and we ask ourselves if we really want to put up with this any longer, especially if their physical needs are such that we find ourselves nearing the point of being the old age bum wiper, as many of us were destined to be. In short, we come to the realization we're too old for this poop. The way I stopped beating myself up for taking too long to go no contact was to put on my work hat as a data analyst. When I'd be given a project to work on, it was important to have a large body of source data in order to reach a definitive conclusion that I could then present to my stakeholders. I therefore looked at what I'd considered the wasted decades as me merely gathering data on my narcs' patterns and behaviours, until the conclusion required no deep analysis to reach. My family's toxic and they will never change. So don't be mad at yourself for taking too long to go no contact. As a scapegoat, you have a forgiving, gentle nature, and you gave your narcs the benefit of the doubt and plenty of opportunities to change their ways and provide you with the love and approval you so desperately craved. When you reach the stage of, I'm too old for this poop, you realise you don't need their approval. You never needed their approval. It took you so long to go no contact because you have a high tolerance for the abuse you suffered and couldn't see the detrimental effect it was having on you until you began to see the physical changes, or you develop medical conditions that cannot be ignored. I have a scapegoat friend who has major clinical depression and chronic back pain for years, but in his 40s it went into high gear and he realised this was the physical manifestation of the abuse he'd endured. When we reach middle age, we're all too aware of our own mortality. We need to decide if we want our remaining years to continue the way things are, or to make radical changes to improve our futures. You went no contact at this age because it took time for you to reach the epiphany that your family is bad for your health, both physical and mental, and you're not prepared to waste any more time on the fruitless task of dealing with your narc parents. You went no contact at the right time for you, and it doesn't matter how long it took. You got there in the end, and you've ensured the next half of your life will be a joyful one. So with that, look after yourself, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.